Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you had a great week. My week has been so busy, but all good things. The Life Alignment Experience is now officially launched. I'm just so grateful that I get the opportunity to serve and help others. I'm still kind of getting over a cold, so bear with me. Today we're going to talk about the limitations we set and how they can interfere with living a fulfilling life. Because often the biggest limitations we face aren't the ones around us, but the ones that we allow within us, the ones that we agree with. We have to stop speaking limitation over our lives and stop letting fear, anxiety, lack of self-worth, lack of courage or confidence and doubt stop us any longer. Think back to when you were a child. You had dreams, maybe even impossible dreams, and you believed in them. I wanted to be a veterinarian or a professional soccer player, both things I no longer desire, but as children, we are so eager and ready for a challenge. It never mattered that those dreams sounded unrealistic, no matter what they were. You were going to be exactly what you said you were going to be. Fast forward to now, what happened? Well, life happens, the world happens, disappointment happened, trauma happened, failure happened, and somewhere along the way, because of what we've gone through, we made up our minds that what we once desired or desire now is impossible. But I have news for you, it's not. You can do anything you set your mind to, and I'm learning this every day as I continue in my walk. If you decide to do something and believe in it hard enough and commit to working at it long enough, nothing can stop you except the limits you agree with. But those limits don't form overnight. They're shaped by our fear, our anxiety, lack of self-worth, lack of confidence and doubt. You may think, no, those things haven't stopped me. Well, then ask yourself what does. I want to talk about each of these limiting factors to hopefully give us some things to think about as we move forward in our journey towards growth with walking in purpose. So we'll start with fear. Fear isn't always dramatic, right? Sometimes it's subtle and disguised as practicality. Sometimes it sounds like, I don't want to look bad, or what if I fail? Fear is a deeply rooted emotion, one of the earliest and most primal responses, hardwired into the human experience. It arises when we perceive danger, uncertainty, or the possibility of loss. While fear can serve as a protective mechanism, it can also become a spiritual and emotional barrier, clouding our judgment, stifling our courage, and distancing us from our peace. Your mind is wired to keep you safe. It remembers past embarrassment, past rejection, past disappointment. But growth always requires faith over fear and stepping into uncomfortable territory. Growth is necessary if we want to break past our limitations. The real question isn't, what if I fail? The better question is, what if I never try? Fear shrinks when action grows. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's movement despite it. Another factor that can limit our purpose is anxiety, and sometimes pursuing the unknown requires faith throughout the journey, even when the road gets difficult. Anxiety is the mind rehearsing problems that haven't even happened yet. It borrows trouble from tomorrow and drags it in today. So stay where your feet are, stay present. Anxiety increases when we try to control outcomes we can't even see yet. Peace increases when we focus on what is in front of us and take no thought for tomorrow. When we can trust in the Lord, He gives us hope for what's to come, and hope reduces anxiety because it replaces, what if it all falls apart with, even if I can't see it, I'm not without help. We don't eliminate anxiety by pretending tomorrow doesn't exist. We reduce it by trusting that grace will meet us when or if tomorrow arrives. Another limiting factor is lack of self-worth, which can manifest as excess criticism and people-pleasing. It often leads to avoiding challenges, which reinforces feelings of inadequacy. It can significantly impact our growth and can stop us from taking the risks that push us to the next level. Sometimes what we call humility is actually hesitation rooted in insecurity. It sounds responsible or modest, but underneath it, there's often fear of being seen, fear of not measuring up, fear of being exposed. So we shrink ourselves. We downplay our gifts. We silence our ideas. We convince ourselves that staying small is safer than stepping forward. And I myself have battled this. And thankfully, as I move forward each day, I'm getting stronger in myself and knowing who I am. But humility was never meant to make you invisible. Humility is knowing who you are and who you are not without diminishing either. Lack of self-worth distorts identity. And I don't know about you, but I find security in knowing that my true identity is in God first. Your circumstances may have shaped your story, but they were never meant to define your identity. When you begin to see yourself as intentionally created for a specific purpose, you stop asking yourself, am I enough? And you begin telling yourself, I was created for more. That shift changes everything. Lack of confidence can also become a barrier to our growth. When we measure ourselves against the past, or when we allow other people's progress to define our pace, we begin to find ourselves out of alignment. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's the steady assurance that you are allowed to grow, that you are allowed to change, to learn, to stretch, and to evolve, that you are worth it. You don't need to know everything before you begin. You need to trust that growth is available to you and that you can do hard things, that you are enough. We often set limitations as defense mechanisms. We call it being realistic, but often it's unresolved fear wearing logic. We create invisible ceilings. We say it's too late. We say we missed our chance, but we are not stuck. We are patterned, and those patterns can be rewritten. We can create a new path for our lives. We can form new habits. We can choose new agreements, and we can stop being snared by the words we speak. When we begin to see ourselves as we were truly created, not through the lens of trauma, not through the lens of rejection, not through the lens of fear, but through specific design and purpose, that's when we truly begin to flow in alignment. That's when comparison loses its power. That's when fear loses its authority. And that's when purpose begins to lead us, because alignment is not about becoming someone new. It's about removing what was never meant to define you. And when you stop agreeing with limitation, you stop living beneath your potential. You begin to live a life of fulfillment, aligned with your true self, a life of purpose. And my hope for you today is that this episode inspires you to pursue the life you have always desired. I thank you all for joining us today. We will see you next time. Be encouraged, be empowered, and be expectant. God bless.